So when we talk about insulin resistance, here is what you need to know. Basically what insulin resistance is the typical American diet. We eat or drink coffee with the cream and sugar. We eat sugary snacks. We eat processed food, lots of cholesterol, sugar, salt, fat. To the typical American diet, we're adding that sugar and that insulin in our bloodstream all day long. So with every meal, with every snack, with every coffee that's got cream and sugar in it, you're adding sugar into your bloodstream and you're causing insulin to be released by the pancreas to get that blood sugar down. Because too much blood sugar is actually very dangerous for your heart and for all the vessels of your cardiovascular system. So when your body gets that alert, hey, you've eaten a whole bunch of sugar, which may be just carbs that broke down into sugar, protein breaks down into sugar, and of course anything, when you look on the label and it says added sugar, you're just getting spoonfuls of sugar right there, guys. It's going straight into your bloodstream. So anytime you're putting anything in your mouth, it's going to raise your blood sugar. It's going to cause insulin to be released. And if you're eating, like I used to, every 2 to 3 hours all day long, sugar, insulin, sugar, insulin, sugar, insulin, all day long, what happens is the insulin receptors that are throughout the cells in your body, especially the adipose tissue here around the abdomen and in your muscles, those insulin receptors use insulin to get the blood sugar out of your bloodstream and into those cells. If there's sugar and insulin getting released all day long, we get to a point where the insulin receptors get bogged down. They start shutting down from overuse. It completely shuts down the system. Your blood sugar goes higher and higher, and the insulin can't keep up. Now that's where diabetes happens. With insulin resistance is that whole process. We're eating all the time, we're getting that sugar in our bloodstream all the time, and we're getting that insulin all the time. And eventually your body just can't keep up and awake and so much more energized. And it's natural. It's my body making it for myself. I'm not taking it as an exogenous pill. This is plant. This is a tea. This is from a leaf of a plant. This isn't synthesized in some office somewhere. These are actual leaves that are hand-picked, taken all of the junk that comes out of the soil out of it, and just purified so that you're getting a pure product. You're getting something that's getting that chlorogenic acid. And this has the chlorogenic acid just like those green tea supplements, but 10 times the amount of chlorogenic acid. That's why it's way better as a fat burner and gives you that energy and those ketones, okay? Now, I was on a diet of drinking a lot of caffeine. I was drinking Starbucks, I was drinking coffee, energy drinks, and everything else to stay awake. So for me, I cut my budget immensely by going from all that caffeine to a small amount of caffeine. I do not get the jitters. No, I don't. If you are someone like me who is used to a ton of caffeine and you go from a low amount of caffeine, you'd be surprised. I didn't get headaches. I didn't have any problems. I've tried to cut caffeine out of my diet twice before, and it gave me the worst migraine ever, and I couldn't do it. I was able to switch to this without getting a headache. If you don't drink any caffeine at all right now in your diet, like no caffeine, just so you know, this does have caffeine in it. So if you're not used to that, it may make you feel a little more awake than usual until you adjust to that. But no jitters, nothing like that. So the system completely together, it comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee because within 90 days, people see results. They see results in their labs, like their blood sugar coming down, their weight coming down, their blood pressure coming down, all of those things. And cholesterol, that's when we're talking about the fiber matrix. This has plant polyphenols in it. What this does is the sterols in plants actually block cholesterol in the gut. That is in here. As well, it has 5 different forms of soluble and insoluble fiber as well. They're going to help keep your bowels moving, help you from getting reflux because everything is moving the way it should. Food in means food out, and that's how your body is supposed to work. If you're someone who doesn't go to the bathroom for days on end, that is a problem. You're not going to actually absorb the macro and micronutrients appropriately in your gut when your gut is backed up. Because when you back up the lower intestine, you back up your stomach as well. And that's why so many people have reflux disease. You can eat a ton of fruit. Yep, you can eat fruits and vegetables and get that fiber in. But the most important thing is to break your fast every day with fiber. If you can break your fast with fiber and some good protein, you're going to feel fuller. You're going to feel better. Your gut is going to move the way it should. That is key to success. That's what you want to do, okay? What I did is I ended up researching for this system because I had so many type 2 patients and pre-diabetic patients, many of which were friends of mine, coming into my pharmacy and saying, Jen, what can I do? I've tried the weight loss injections, the GLPs like the Ozempic, the Mounjaros, all of that, and they make me viciously sick. Since starting these lives, I can't even tell you how many people reach out to me and say, oh yeah, I tried it, it made me sick. I had one lady reach out, she said she used Ozempic for 1 month, lost 40 pounds, hasn't been able to gain any of the weight back. She says she looks sick, emaciated. People keep asking if she has cancer. She can't eat food. She still can't hold down any food. She either throws up or has diarrhea as soon, and she hasn't been on the medication anymore. She only used it for 1 month. It's 6 months later, she's not using the injections anymore. She still can't eat food, and she is sick, absolutely sick. So I do know some people can tolerate them just fine. I see that as well. But there are some people that this is just not right for, and it makes them viciously sick, and it's side effects that they hold on to. We don't even know for how long. This woman has had the side effects for 6 months, and her doctor can't figure out how to help her. So we're talking about malnutrition, and those kind of things can happen with the injections, where something like this is the natural form. I've had so many of my patients come in and switch to something like this because it gives you the same GLP agonist in the yerba mate without the nausea. Your friend was in the ER from it. Yeah, I've heard hundreds now of stories of people being hospitalized from the injections. Hundreds. And what's crazy is we don't see it on the news. We don't see it on the Facebook and the TikTok ads and all of that. But I'm seeing it here because I keep getting more and more people messaging me about it. How many grams of fiber in the balance? One balance has, I believe it's 4 grams of fiber, and that's not that much fiber. Now, if you have 2 balances a day, which is how this comes, you're going to get 8 grams of fiber, which is about 1/3 of what you need in your diet completely. But because it's soluble and insoluble fiber, and it has those plant sterols in it, it helps block the cholesterol and balance the blood sugar so your blood sugar doesn't spike as high. And I'm going to explain how that works. In the balance as well, since you were asking about the nutritional content, it has vitamin A, C, E, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, B6, folic acid, B12, biotin, calcium, zinc, and chromium. So basically what you see in your multivitamin. So I don't take my multivitamin anymore. I'll take it every 2 or 3 days just because I'm always, it's immune system season. I want to have excess vitamins instead of less, to be honest. So if I'm making some expensive pea with some extra vitamins, I'm okay with that. But I know I don't need to take it every day because I'm getting everything I need right here. This does not have vitamin D though, so you need to make sure you're still taking a vitamin D supplement, especially right now in the winter when we're not getting sunshine. So if you are someone who wants to switch from a multivitamin to this, just make sure that you add your vitamin D, okay? So with the balance, I'm going to explain exactly how that fiber matrix works. I drink it 7 to 10 minutes before my lunch and my dinner. And what it does is the fiber coats the gut, so it blocks that cholesterol and it helps your sugar. So I can show you some, I don't have my chart here, sorry guys. But basically, normally when you eat a meal, your sugar goes up and it spikes quickly, especially if you have carbs, like simple carbs. Then you get that insulin spike and then it takes some time to come down. If you keep eating and snacking and drinking Starbucks all day, you're gonna have this. You're never gonna get down to baseline. Now, when you do something like the fiber matrix and you coat your gut, instead of getting a huge sugar spike and insulin spike, you get a slower insulin and sugar rise. Because the sugar goes into the body slower, you don't get the huge insulin spike, you get a small insulin spike, and then it comes down faster because it doesn't get as high. And so because of that, you were talking about reversing insulin resistance. Your body isn't going to be bogged down. Those insulin receptors can get the sugar out of your body the way they need to. The reason insulin resistance occurs is because we eat so often and so much sugar, and it's not balanced by fiber for most people. Most people are eating the typical American diet. They're drinking the Starbucks caramel lattes like I was, where there's 60 grams of added sugar. I mean, that's teaspoon after teaspoon of sugar, and that just spikes your sugar and insulin through the roof. It takes your body a long time to come down and process that. And then when that sugar level's starting to get down, what do we typically do? Eat lunch or eat dinner. And that's what happens. We're feeding it all day long. So here's a good question. Do you have to drink balance every time I eat, even for snacks in between main meals? No, you do not. So you're going to drink the balance before lunch and before dinner, and that's going to be to do that blocking for your main meal. If you're snacking in between, you don't do additional fiber. What's most important with the fiber is that when you break your morning fast, you break it with fiber. And the reason that is because fiber like this matrix of fiber, instead of just being something like Metamucil that just helps you go to the bathroom a little bit better, this is completely different. Not only does it have those plant sterols in it, they're gonna actually block cholesterol. Have been scientifically proven, not just by this company, by many different companies, how that works to block cholesterol and get your cholesterol level down. But not only that, but this fiber itself is going to help your bowels move, and they're going to balance the sugar. So sugar and fiber balance each other. That's why they called this balance. They were very clever with that. And this is how I like to explain it. If you have a glass of apple juice and you drink it, what happens to you? If you're diabetic, you know, because if you're in a diabetic emergency and your blood sugar's low, that's what you want, is a glass of apple juice, because it spikes your blood sugar up high quick. Okay, so people are like, well, apples are good for you. Yes, apples are good for you. Apple juice is straight sugar. Now, if you're holding an apple has a bunch of fiber in it, in the meat and in the skin. The fiber in that fruit balances the sugar in the juice so that when you eat an apple, okay, your sugar doesn't spike as high. And we all know this, the science behind this. If you take an apple and you juice it and you just drink the juice, you're going to get a high sugar spike. If you eat the whole piece of fruit, the sugar spike isn't anywhere near as high. That's what balance does. It takes that fiber and balances the sugar that you're getting in your meal. So if you're eating out burgers, if you're eating a bunch of simple carbs, if you're getting a lot of breads, wheat, grains, all of that stuff that we tend to eat, French fries, those are going to spike your sugar like crazy, because those carbs, as soon as they hit your gut, they break down into sugars. So if you're not getting fiber in with your carbs, if you're just eating the pasta and you're not eating a whole bunch of vegetables with it, those where you get those crazy sugar spikes. A lot of people now have the continuous glucose monitors, and they can see exactly what food spikes them the worst. And everybody's biology is a little bit different. For some people, they can eat a big old bowl of raw carrots and it barely spikes their blood sugar. Other people can eat the same bowl of raw carrots and it spikes their blood sugar like crazy. Because all those carbs break down to sugar in your body, and depending on your gut microbiome is how your body processes that sugar. So you have to be careful, because even fruits and vegetables are full of sugar, and most people don't realize that. So these are amazing for weight loss. Yes, they call this the Feel Great system for a reason, and they do the 90-day money-back guarantee for a reason, because within 90 days, almost everyone sees results, and those results are blood sugar lowering, cholesterol lowering, blood pressure lowering, or sometimes just weight lowering, okay? And for people, they're seeing the results in the abdomen is the big area, and on the lab results. Those are the two big places. If you don't eat fiber at all, if you're someone who just has a really rough diet, you may want to start out taking this fiber and doing half before lunch and half before dinner as you get acclimated to the fiber, because it's going to make you feel fuller faster, okay? And so for some people, they're just not used to having that fiber in that diet, so you can go slow with it. With the tea, you can do that as well. I like to mix half of my tea in 10 ounces of hot boiling water in the morning and drink it as like a coffee, because I don't drink coffee anymore. Me, who used to drink Starbucks all the time, don't drink it anymore. Deleted the app. Then I take the other half of the tea and I put it in the little water bottle they give you, and I add cold water, and I keep this in the fridge. Sometimes I'll add a cinnamon stick either to my cold or to my hot, because it just tastes good and I love it. So do hormones fluctuate at 70? Hormones, unfortunately for women, our hormones flux our entire lives. Unlike men who are lucky and just have that darn testosterone, we have progesterone and estrogen fluctuating all the time. Even if you've had a hysterectomy, even if you're menopausal, even if you're post-menopause, it's crazy. Our hormone levels still fluctuate our entire lives. Yeah, I know. I don't know why God made us that way. He made us challenging, I guess, but we're an adventure that way, and I appreciate it. So And what I have learned about fasting, and I'm digging more and more into it. There's a doctor now that I'm following, and there is a nutritionalist that I'm really looking into a lot of the information that they're doing, as well as studying different like National Institute of Health studies as well that are talking about fasting. They're talking about the yerba mate. There's a lot of studies out there with the yerba mate and weight loss, and even helping with hormone balance after it changes your weight. So once you get your weight to a normal level, using something as simple as this, as a plant-based system to help you get those cravings under control, to help you get your weight down, get your lab results coming down, those blood sugar coming down, your cholesterol, your blood pressure. When you start regulating, you're getting yourself back down to a normal body weight, that's when I hit the hormones hard. Focus on really balancing those hormones. And what I've learned is that can be as simple as varying your fast. Yeah, Jenny, it can be tough being a woman. Let me tell you, yes, it is. And it doesn't matter if you've had kids or you haven't had kids. If your uterus is intact or it has been removed, you are going to have hormone fluctuations. If you are a woman who has already been through menopause, what I usually recommend is for the clients that I work with, is if they're looking to lose weight and to work on their hormones, is I tell them to do the 16 and 8 like I do. I drink the tea in the morning for breakfast. I have the balanced fiber before lunch and dinner. Okay, it's going to make me feel fuller. I'm not going to want to eat quite as much, so it will cut my calories back just a little bit. Okay, I stay in that eating window. I eat between noon and 8, and you can vary that wherever you need to. But for me, noon and 8 works really well. I only eat between that window. And then on the weekends, if I was post-menopause, on the weekends, instead of doing that 16-hour fast, I would shorten that to 12. I would only fast between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m., and then I would try to get my good carbohydrates, my complex carbohydrates, like the vegetables and the fruits and all that stuff. During those weekends, increase my hormone level that way. That way more progesterone is made, less cortisol, and you get balancing of hormones. Can you fast on an insulin pump? Absolutely. Actually, that is the best way to fast if you are a diabetic, is on an insulin pump, because all it's going to do is cause less insulin to be released in your body. It's going to tell you, it's going to know right where your sugar is at, and instead of releasing insulin when it usually would, first thing in the morning as soon as you eat, it's just going to cut back and maybe not send out any insulin at all. So yeah, that's the easiest way to do it, is with an insulin pump, because that's doing the hard work for you, making sure your blood sugar is not getting too high or low. So for me, like I said, I reached out and started researching this because of my type 2s, and I had 2 really good friends that were really struggling, and they were both borderline diabetic. That's when I started researching, and I spent 6 whole months. Before I bought this for the first time, I spent 6 months researching it, you guys. I just didn't just jump on it. I was studying for a while. And so I spent 6 months looking at not just this company, but like anybody who was making any kind of yerba mate, that was making fiber supplements, all of that stuff. And this is the only company I saw that really had scientifically backed results. They have a patent on their fiber, a literal patent on this, so that nobody else can create it, because they know it works so well. And they have been really advertising this since about 2010, but they've been advertising it by word of mouth. Because it used to be that they used to sell this in the Rexall drugstores. Those are the people who came up with this. They came up with this as a substitute because diabetes was starting to go through the roof, and they wanted something more natural for their patients to take, and it was coming out right when metformin came out. And guess what the doctors jumped on board with? Metformin. They threw everybody on metformin and said, give them a pill, give them a pill, give them a pill, instead of doing something as simple as let's give them a plant. And when Rexall Pharmacy saw that their supplement, they had this great plant-based supplement with all the scientific research behind it, wasn't going anywhere because everybody was pushing for the metformin, they went to the word of mouth sales, kind of like Amazon. So now we have something like me, who would be considered like an affiliate, and has a link, and then you could click on it, and then you work with me as a coach, and I talk to you all about the supplement and how it works for you. Good morning from North Carolina. So did you reverse your diabetes? So Big Dog, I am not diabetic. I was insulin resistant, just to clarify. And what insulin resistance just means, and 80% of Americans are insulin resistant, all that means is I was in a state where I craved sugar all the time. I was dehydrated all the time. I craved sugar all the time. I would eat every 2 to 3 hours all day long and crave sugar like crazy. So technically my blood sugar was up, but it wasn't up enough to make me diabetic, and I am no longer in that state.